What's the most uncomfortable feeling ever? A panic attack in which you feel you're dying. This one is the right answer. When you know it's a panic attack, but there's no way to stop your brain from telling you you must be dying. And then thinking maybe you should call an ambulance because it might be a heart attack, but you have no way of knowing for sure, and you don't want to pay $5,000 for an ambulance unless you really are dying, and all of this just making the panic attack 100 times worse. Worst feeling in the world. Yup, I get that pseudo heart attack thing all the time. I just breathe deeply for a while until it goes away. I can feel it's going to happen for a couple of hours before it gets really bad like that. I know what is happening and I just try to stay calm, but it's already too late and it just has to run its course before I can start feeling normal again. The anxiety of the impending panic attack is every bit as bad when it starts for no apparent reason. The feeling that something's stuck in the back of your throat but it's not, but no amount of throat clearing makes it feel better. Second runner-up photo. Finishes something like popcorn kernels or stringy meat stuck between your teeth. First feeling sounds like tonsil stones to me. I suffer from them, and no matter how hard I retch or clear my throat, it feels like I have a perpetual lump back there, unless I jab my tonsils with something blunt to extract them, and in the process causing severed dry heaves. Mine eventually pop out on their own. Hate them stinky things as it's always when I'm talking. I got them when I was younger, like mysterious little stones I even put under a microscope. Never had an issue until my late 20s, and now they are stubborn and stay put. It helps when I get enough sleep, and I'm not stressed though. Today was a good day for example. When you have to puke, and you know it's only a matter of time until it happens, and you're in this sort of queasy limbo between mild nausea and actually blowing chunks. Bonus points if it's a stomach virus or the like, and you aren't sure which end is gonna blow first. Simple, sit on a toilet with a bucket or bag in hand. I usually sit on the toilet and puke in the garbage can, but that doesn't make the feeling any more comfortable. The agony in your bed, resisting the inevitable, thinking, maybe if I lay still my body will forget about it. Especially when you feel the chills all over your body, you're doing your damnedest not to black out, and you just want to get it over with already, so you can quit praying for death. I've had my bladder checked for cancer. Twice. Clear both times, thankfully. Imagine how one would get a camera in there. And now imagine how that would feel. That I had it checked too. It was so weird to see the video as it was happening. I didn't see anything. I was too busy concentrating on not yelling or punching the doctor. I'm a woman, maybe that's why it wasn't painful, just uncomfortable. I also have a high pain tolerance. The doctor was young and fun, and seemed to love his job. He asked if I wanted to see what he was doing first, and then he turned the monitor, so I could see. When you're falling asleep, but you're 2 degrees too hot. That's basically me 90% of the year. Same. I'm trying to lose weight to combat it. My father-in-law keeps the house at 80 degrees in the house at night, in the middle of summer. If you turn on a fan he complains that it's cold. Someone send help. For me it's trying to fall asleep, but despite wearing 2 pairs of socks, my feet are ice cold. So annoying. Bonus points if you're already miserable and sick. I was going to say dying of starvation, but this is much worse. Wanting to sneeze but it won't come out. Or when you can't stop sneezing. When you feel a sneeze coming and want to force it out, just stare at a bright source of light, not the sun though. Just something that would be too bright compared to your current light level. I've learned to do this to let out a constipated sneeze. Or if you want it to go away, just say watermelon repeatedly. I'm pretty sure this is a very specific thing that only happens to some people. Everyone I've met who can do it immediately knows what I'm talking about, and everyone else immediately thinks I'm dumb lol. Embarrassment caused by another's actions. You can't do anything but cringe. I get second-hand embarrassment really badly. I went to a comedy show with a really raunchy comedian, and he kept talking about this overweight guy in the audience. I just wanted to die right there in that moment, and I prayed he didn't clown on our table next. And you feel like you can't tell them to stop for fear of hurting their feelings. When I was younger, if I watched Marty McFly's guitar solo, I had to get up and move around because I was so physically anxious. So yeah, this. Not being able to change out of wet clothes. Related, having to put on dry clothes while you are still damp. X1000, if you have to put jeans back on. Have you ever had to change back into wet clothes? Like maybe a swimsuit for a second swim for the day or wet coveralls for work after lunch break. Nasty. Try getting back into wet wetsuits to go diving. Ugh. Wet and sandy. Even if you're diving in a rock quarry or suited up on a boat, there will somehow be sand in your damp wetsuit when you pull it back on. Pebble in your shoe when you're in a hurry, so you don't have time to stop and take it out. Worst feeling. Or feeling a blister forming, but being in too much of a rush to be able to stop it. I had to speed walk to get my kid from school 5 minutes and I realized that I was wearing old, worn out shoes I had meant to change out of. I was late leaving, so I couldn't stop to adjust them and didn't have time to go back to switch. Had to finish the walk there and back, feeling the blisters get worse with every step. Thinking you're going to get a good sleep, then remember when you were 7 in a supermarket and held a middle-aged man's hand that you never have seen before. Look around, then realize your real dad was 5 feet in front of you. Then you get that feeling, you know. It felt really embarrassing if you're a kid, but to the stranger it might be cute. I had a little kid mistaken me as her dad once. She ran away right after she realized it. TBH, I don't mind at all. That even brightened my mood a little somehow. Get to work, check email, new email from boss. Flagged contents of email, meeting urgent. No context. Meeting is in 3 hours. You have no idea why, and it's never good. A hard second is that time after a fight or argument with someone you love, when you're anxiously waiting to make everything okay again, but they have to work, go to class, do something, and you're not sure if you're good until they come back. Feeling like you're drowning at the dentist when they are doing a filling or root canal with the junk dripping down your throat. Before I got my braces, they made a mold of my mouth by shoving a huge glob of pink goo into my mouth. I could feel it slowly going down my throat. My orthodontist was cradling my head as my eyes filled with tears. I gagged. Loved that. Probably the worst part of having braces, TBH. Probably when you get a limb stuck in a meat grinder. Yes, like falling feet first into a deli slicer. It's kind of a common misconception. We feel pain from cuts and scrapes, but when a wound as severe as this would cause occurs, the body's nerve system shuts down, and it feels like a very light tickle. It's kind of euphoric. I rate it a perfect 5/7. Overhearing people talking negatively about you, especially if it's something that you had no idea people had a problem with. Even worse when the same people have said the exact opposite to your face. I have a hard time trusting people. I walked into work on a day I was supposed to open and heard my boss talking badly about me to the kitchen crew. Being stuck somewhere with a couple that's arguing and doesn't seem to care that other people can hear them. Happened to me once on a plane. Luckily, right when I was getting close to my breaking point, some other guy piped up and basically said everything I was feeling. Oddly enough, that somehow caused them to apologize and mac you like right on the spot. Hearing that a baby died who you're related to, or know someone that's close to it. Last week, my best friend's niece died at 6 months old. Hearing the news crushed me. Worst part, the parents were somewhat known to be unfit, so it really didn't surprise me that it happened. But it definitely shocked me in a bad way. Licking a popsicle and inadvertently going too far and licking the soggy wood. A second would be that feeling when you eat grapes and the skin gets stuck on your teeth, while the amount of friction in your mouth seems to have increased 10 times from the juice. I've stopped eating grapes or drinking grape juice because of this. My wife found a lump in her breast last night and we're waiting on the results. I don't even know if an upvote is the proper reaction to this. I just want to say that I wish you to all the luck and all the force you need, and more. Oh no. I'm thinking good thoughts for you guys. How scary. Gas pain. Your hair being in a tight bun or updo and being released, you feel the tension in your scalp change. Also similar, bra off time, or wet bathing suit you've been wearing all day coming off. Also, scratching a sunburn and only realizing once you've finished the scratch. Lying in bed knowing you need to be sick. Even worse is when you wake up in the middle of the night and have those cramps and or nausea and you bargain with any entity that will listen to just please let it pass and let you get back to sleep, but it doesn't ever work. When you though that you ask just a tiny little harmless question just to make idle chat and the couple start to fight about it in front of you for a long time and the word divorce is said at some point. The question was so, where you'll go this summer? Trying to sleep when you're sick and your nose is so congested that you can't breathe through it, but breathing through your mouth makes your throat feel dry and hurt even more, and you think about all the times you took having an uncongested nose for granted. When you have an itch, and for whatever reason you can't scratch it, there's no greater pain in this world. That's why some of the Apollo astronauts stuck a little patch of Velcro to the inside of the helmet so that they could scratch their noses on it. Listening to someone speak with a frog in their throat that they refuse to clear. You keep hearing it rattle with every voiced syllable and drawn breath, but no amount of coughing on your part can fix it, like a sympathetic itch you can't scratch. You're caught, and you're in deep trouble, but you don't know what the punishment will be yet. And you're just sitting there like I'm dead, but I don't know how I'm going to be dead, but I know for sure I'm dead. Whenever you're shaving, and your fingernail momentarily gets caught between the blades. I cringe just thinking about it. It isn't painful, but it is the worst non-painful physician sensation I can imagine. When you bite your cheek, and it gets cut, and it would probably heal, if you could just stop probing it with your tongue. Runner-up stepping into empty air when you're walking up the steps and thought there was one more step. There are definitely others out there who know what I mean, but starch, seeing, hearing, touching starchy stuff. There's just an extremely unpleasant shivery feeling that comes from that.